Welcome, and thank you for joining me on the mat today. Today's prenatal class, we're going to be flowing through some seated stretches, some hands and knees movements, and of course, coming up to standing for the end here. So you won't need any props. However, if you are further along in your third trimester, or your hips just simply feel really tight, you may find you benefit from having something to sit up on, whether that is a firm pillow, you have a yoga bolster, or even a couple blocks. You can also do some of these movements from a chair if that is more accessible for you today. So let's get started. Find that comfortable seated position. Let the shoulders be heavy away from the ears. You're more than welcome to close your eyes as well if that feels comfortable for you. We're just starting to bring some of that awareness inwards and onto the breath. Following each inhale and exhale as it moves through the body. Just make a few gentle observations, no judgments or changes. But how is that breath feeling in this present moment? Does it feel short and shallow? Or perhaps it's already started to slow down and lengthen? And depending on where you breathe naturally, as well as where you are in your pregnancy, perhaps you still feel a little bit of that breath down into your belly. And perhaps baby has taken up all that space and it's only in your chest and your rib cage now. We're going to start slowing down our breath. So if you have no more room in your belly, we're only going to be breathing into that rib cage and chest. If you still got a little bit of belly room, I invite you to expand the belly if that is comfortable for you. Either way, think of inhaling through the nose. Let the upper body expand and exhale through the nose. Let everything just come back to a neutral position. Now we're not holding the breath at either end, simply letting it flow. Our breath work is so important for labor especially, but we don't want to be holding that breath. These deeper breaths can help us get through that experience, but also to help just calm us down just a little bit. And as you take the next couple breaths, we're going to bring some of that awareness down into our pelvic floor. So part of prenatal yoga and prep is that we are strengthening our pelvic floor. And you want to think about the lungs and the diaphragm and the pelvic floor all being connected. So as you expand the lungs, as you inhale, the diaphragm actually drops and expands, and the pelvic floor lowers. As you exhale, everything comes back in and the pelvic floor lifts. And if this is your first time doing any pelvic floor exercises, it may feel like you're not doing anything. And that's perfectly all right. Just visualize what the inside of your body is doing. And slowly over time, you'll be able to feel it, or you'll be actually able to make a little bit more of that impact on that pelvic floor. Sometimes you hear a lot about it, but it's like that visual training. And it actually does help to some extent. And at first, that might be all we're doing. Let's take 2 more deep breaths, still with that pelvic floor focus. Lovely. Take a couple big shoulder rolls as we start to gain weight. Those that upper body, that shoulders can get really tight. And just when you have the opportunity, give them a few rolls. We'll go the other direction. Finally, you can bring those shoulders back to stillness. We're going to bring our feet into a butterfly position. And this butterfly can be out as wide or as long or as close in as you're comfortable with. If you have tighter hips, you may find that a longer butterfly is just serving you a little bit better. We're getting a little bit into the hips, but we don't want to overstretch them. And then just bring your hands back behind you. Pull the fingers towards the mat a little bit and back. You should feel those shoulder blades coming together and the chest kind of lifts just a little bit. If you need to, you can rest those hands on the mat. That can help you lift the chest and perhaps the gaze, so you're feeling a little bit more stable. And then relax. And again, one more. Beautiful. We're going to keep those hands interlocked behind us. And this time lifting the hands up towards the ceiling. When you can't lift anymore, you can start to then lean forward just a little bit. And then relax. Good. Inhale, lift the hands. So once they don't go any further, lean forward a little bit further. And relax. Depending on flexibility and, of course, baby's size, you may find you're not going very far forward, and that's fine. We're just creating that gentle movement. All right, we're going to take one more. And then relax, roll those shoulders. And then we'll come back to any comfortable seated position. I'm going to do legs crossed. If it was more comfortable for you to be in butterfly or even one leg out, feel free to switch it up throughout here. We're going to work our shoulders a little bit. So taking those hands out, shoulder height, palms to the earth. Inhale, open them up to the side. Exhale, bring them back to center. Inhale to lift. And then exhale, cactus them out to the side, shoulder blades and elbows trying to touch behind you. Inhale, lift. And that is going to be our full sequence here. I encourage you to go quite slow. Feel the fingertips pulling you in the direction you're moving. And then on this one, they kind of resist. Use the breath. If you lose the breath, that's fine. Take a moment. You can pause at any time. Reconnect. If you find you're doing something opposite with the breath that I suggested, that's fine too. There's suggestions for how your breath should move with yoga. There's some things that make the breath or the movements a little bit easier. But oftentimes, whatever is serving you today is what you should go with. We're just going to take one more full round. This one is a great exercise. No weights to strengthen and stretch the shoulders, especially, we've got our cactus, as we're preparing to carry our little ones. All right, relax those hands. Give them a couple rolls in the shoulders if that feels good. We're going to flow side to side today, taking that left hand to the earth. Inhale, right arm up, reach it over. As we're reaching, we still want to feel like the hip is pressing back to the earth. That'll give us that little extra stretch in the side body. Now, if you are sitting up on a bolster, you may find the earth is a little bit far away from this hand. That's okay if you're on your fingertips. Or another trick you can use is if you have a couple more yoga blocks, you can set those on the side just to bring that earth a little bit closer to you. All right, we're going to take one more each side. And then as we come to center, grow tall. We're going to do the same thing with a twist. So exhale, twist to one side. Doesn't matter which side you start with. Keep that length of the spine, little bit of a push. And we're just twisting with our shoulders and our neck. Grow tall. Exhale, twist. So if you are fairly early into your pregnancy, you may find you can still twist a little bit with your belly. And that's perfectly all right as long as it's comfortable for you. As your belly grows, you'll find you won't be able to move as much in that twisting direction with the belly. So we're just going to keep it as forward as we can. And again, one more each side. Good. Back up to center, grow tall. And then you can rest those hands behind you, uncross the legs. Take some nice slow windshield wipers with those legs. Get movement into the hips. This really feels good in that lower back though and tailbone. Knees can come as close to the earth as you're comfortable with. They don't have to touch. You may find you've got a little bit more space. That's fine. All right, and we'll gently come over into a tabletop position. So our tabletop position for prenatal, your hands still want to be below your shoulders. The fingers still spread, but the knees can be as wide as you like so that it's comfortable for your hips and you have space for your baby. Little bit of push in the hands. Inhale, let the belly drop, chest lifts, gaze forward. Reach through the crown of the head. Create that space from the base of the vertebrae all the way up. Exhale to round the spine, head drops, shoulders round. Inhale. And exhale. Now this cat-cow movement, you can go as slow or as fast as the body is calling for. Just keep in mind, faster breath, faster movement may bring extra warmth into the body. And you may find later in your pregnancy that is uncomfortable for you. Excuse me, because you're already quite warm. All right, we're going to take one more exhale. And then back to a neutral spine. We're going to bring the big toes to touch, knees nice and wide. We're going to be doing a little bit of a flow forward and back. So bring those hands, about one hand breadth forward. Press those hips back. This is our child's pose. Feel that little stretch in the back and the shoulders. And then inhale, come forward. Bring some weight into the hands. And again, depending on how comfortable it is, you can let the hips drop a little. Exhale back. And again, inhale forward. And of course, we want those knees even wider than before. Make space for our belly. All right, inhale, come back up. Find that tabletop again, so shoulders and wrists align, knees in just a little bit of push into the earth. And sending one leg straight back. See if you can get hip height. Of course, if it's not comfortable for your hips, you can take it a little lower, and you can even place those toes on the earth, and then just bring it back in. We're going to alternate. Kick it back, press, and bring it back in. Just feeling the different directions that our legs and our hip joints move in. About one more each side. Just make sure you're even. There's nothing wrong with doing one side more than the other, but an even flow is usually the most beneficial. Sometimes the tighter side, you might want to do one more extra on or two more extra on, but nothing wrong with being a little even, nothing wrong with being uneven. All right. Gently bring your right foot forward, and you're going to want to step out wide enough so that you've got enough space. Gently come up to that tall lunge position. Send the arms up ever so briefly. Grow tall through the spine. And you'll notice my legs are in a very neutral lunge position here. We're going to take this right hand on the bottom, left elbow stacks over top. Bring the backs of the hands to touch if they can, or even high five. If this one is too intense with you, you can also just layer the hands on your shoulders here. And then just lift up towards the ceiling and then release. Good, one more. My microphone's getting in the way of this exercise. All right, release back down. All right, we are going to bring our hand down towards the earth. Again, this hand can be nice and wide off to the side so we've got enough space. And then the opposite hand is going to come up towards the ceiling. So right now my right leg is forward, my right hand is up, pushing away. And then bring this right hand back to the thigh so I can gently rise up. And then you can either bring the hands back through table, or if your balance is still there, just gently switch to this other side. So again, left leg out enough that we have room. So now grow tall first. Take that moment, find your balance, and then send the left hand on the bottom, right hand on the top. Again, cactus the arms, lift and lower. Good, release. Gently bring this right hand down to the earth, again, nice and wide. Left arm lifts up towards the ceiling, again, pushing the earth away a little. And then release. This time we are going to come back to our tabletop. So we want to bring the knees even wider than before for that tabletop there. We're coming up to standing. Toes and knees wide on the mat. Tuck the toes underneath. If you are currently feeling quite nauseous, or you just typically get dizzy when you find your head goes below your heart, you can skip this downward dog and just casually make your way up to standing. Otherwise, I'll invite you to take this short little downward dog with me. Pressing through the hands, tuck the toes, hips come up and back, generous bend in the knees, chest reaches back a little, and then you can walk the feet and the hands towards one another. Generous bend, use those thighs if you like. We're going to come up to standing. We're going to open the legs out. Send the right foot towards the top of the mat and the left foot back, toes facing the long edge of the mat. We're coming into our warrior two, and it is going to be a shorter warrior two than what we would typically aim for in a yoga class. And that is because of the relaxants we are starting to develop as we get closer into our third trimester. We don't want to overstretch the hips. So just bend into that right knee, keeping the knee either straight up and down so that shin is straight. It can come a little bit further forward if that's comfortable for you, but keeping in mind the further forward the knee is, the more we're getting into those hips, which we may want to avoid. Reach those arms out shoulder height. Deep breaths here. And we're going to bring in some movement. We're going to inhale, lift and straighten. Exhale to sink. Good, just 2 more. And then sink and hold it there. Relax those hands as we switch to the other side. So left toes now going to the short edge of the mat. Right toes to the long edge. Sink into that left knee. Reach those arms out again. Little pause. Bring in that movement for 3. Again, 1 more. Sink and hold. Relax those hands. Bring those feet a little bit closer together. Give them some shakes. I guess a little bit closer. We're going to come a lot closer together. We're going to have the feet with the inside edge going forward. And if you can stack those hips and those knees and those ankles on top of one another. If you're further along, you may find it's just more comfortable to stand with the feet a little bit further apart. We are coming into our chair pose. And we're just going to start with some gentle lower end lifts. So gentle sit and then press back up. Now your hands here can be anywhere that's comfortable for you. So that can be your hips. That can be just on the belly, especially if baby woke up and they're squirmy. You can bring them to heart center. Or if you want to work the shoulders, bring them up towards the ceiling. And at any time, you're more than welcome to change between the options. Oh. All right, now that we've kind of warmed up those legs, we're going to sink and hold, but just a short one. Holding 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rise up. Again, sink, hold. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And last one. Sink and hold. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax everything. Give those legs a shake. So we're actually going to only do 1 more standing pose today, and it's going to help strengthen that inner thigh here. So legs back out just slightly wider than hip distance, toes at the 45. We're coming into our goddess squats. I tend to do these with my students at every practice. It's just really helpful for increasing that pelvic floor and that inner thigh strength. So I'm going to take my hands to the hips, but again, you can take them wherever you like. We're going to start off nice and gentle, 2 little pulses, and then press back up. As you're rising, think of pressing through the heels and pulling the inner thighs together. So it is more of an active movement than just coming to a relaxed position. If you can, try and keep that chest lifted as opposed to coming forward. Often as our belly grows, it just feels more comfortable to be a little bit more forward. But having that tall spine can actually help with that back strength. And that pelvis almost wants to be tucked up. We just don't want it to be pushed back, so I'm getting an arch in my spine. And then same thing with the chair pose, and you can take a break. We're going to take those 3 rounds of short little holds. So sink it down, holding 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press up. Again, hold 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press up. Last one. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press up. And then give those legs a rest. Little shake. Lovely. We're going to come back down onto the earth. So however is easiest for you to get back down there. Find that cross-legged position again. Take a couple shoulder rolls. Just maybe 2 or 3 in each direction. Let the shoulders be heavy. And we're just going to come down to a few of those deeper breaths to help us close out our practice. I'll invite you to close the eyes if that is comfortable for you. See if you can come back to some of those slower, deep breaths in and out through the nose. Letting the rib cage and the chest expand. Exhale through the nose. Let everything come back to that neutral position. And if you have some extra time, I will invite you to pause the video. Perhaps you have a couch nearby that you can sit on instead, where you can relax and lean against something. Just take a few moments for yourself. If you are ready to come out of your practice and get going on the rest of your day, we will close out together with 2 deep breaths. As you inhale, perhaps the arms can lift up as well, grow even taller. And as you exhale, sigh it out, let everything relax. Beautiful. Once more. Let those hands rest together at heart center. Let the shoulders be heavy. I thank you for joining me on the mat today, and I look forward to seeing you again soon on your journey. The light in me sees and honors the light in each of you. Namaste.